Oh, good.
We're going chasing.
Hello there, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Hello, now, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Now, we have a lot on the agenda, lads, so we'll cut the chase and get straight down to the business.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of We're Going Chasing. Killian, we had some great racing over the weekend. You ventured up to Downroyal yourself as well.
Did you? Made a day trip up to Downroyal. Well worth it now, in fairness. Some really nice horses won. The novice hurdle winner down memory lane looks nice. Obviously, it was a really exciting finish to the grade one. Aintree Meadow then as well looks like he'd be a horse to step out of grade two company and into maybe grade ones down the line as well. So it was a good day overall, yeah.
What were crowds like there? I wonder, were they affected much by the cancellation of it? Did it seem busy there?
I don't know. I'd say it felt... I've been there now the Saturday the last 3 years, and it felt that the busiest was 2 years ago. And then I'd say last year was busier than yesterday.
Yeah.
Now they have a few new buildings there. Like they have a sort of a tent to the left of that really high stand. But that mightn't have been there the first year. But there was a
tower
tent
stand.
Our stand. There was a tent then that was in like a bar sort of that was in the middle between the two stands before. That's now gone. So I don't know. I would say it's down on last year and the year before.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it was affected by the cancellation. I
know they had all the hospitality sold out for the first for when it was meant to be on, and then they were selling hospitality right up until the day. So they probably didn't get all that sold out, which it's very hard for them, really to sell hospitality like that at such late notice. But I remember actually before the queues for toilets were an issue there. How was that the weekend? Was it grand?
Grand, yeah. I didn't notice any trouble with it anyway. So it was okay.
Very good. I would have loved to be there myself. Only for I couldn't. But it's a good course up there, and I always enjoy going up there. We'll get straight into it, Killian. We've got 3 trainers in the green, and we'll start off with the man on everybody's the tip of the tongue at the moment, Gordon Elliott. No, not John Ryan. He might be later on, but Gordon Elliott, 29% strike rate in the last 14 days, won 11 of the 14 races at Downroyal, which is quite scandalous. What a vein of form he's in.
Yeah, unreal. And like it wasn't just like it's all really good horses that have won a lot of the races as well. I know his are sort of maybe he targets this meeting obviously every year, and maybe Willie doesn't have some of his out, but like does it take a good horse to beat some of the winners he's had the weekend from Willie or from Henry or anything else? So like, he's releasing a lot of really good horses this time of year, and it's great to see it.
Yeah. I suppose one that you had up was Hunting Brook. We spoke about it here in the podcast that went out last Friday, and you were very sweet on him, and he got up.
Yeah, he got up to win by about a length, I think. It looked for a while he wasn't going to get there, but I think Gordon did an interview after the race and said the horse is going to improve for the run as well, which is fantastic, because I'm saying he's going to be 120 by Christmas. He'd probably get £7 or £8 for that, so that would put him at 93 to 95 maybe. So then we'll see how he goes after that. I'd say there's probably a race for him potentially in Navan next weekend if he's able to turn out that quickly. But I know that Jungle Pros won in Downroyal and then ran in Navan, but there was 2 weeks between them last year.
Yeah,
only a week this year, but it could be well capable of turning out again.
Yeah, and it could be a Gordon Elliott weekend again next weekend, really, with the Navan Racing Festival on. Navan being Gordon's local track, he always likes to have winners there, and he'll be going there with a very strong team once again. So I don't think we'll be hitting the same numbers, but we could be having similar conversations about Gordon Elliott being in red hot form. Brighter Days Ahead was another one in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. She's obviously come with quite a big reputation and has won very well. Herself and Bantown Girl have pulled well clear of a rare William Mullins runner there in third, Williamstown Dancer. I thought Bantown Girl was impressive too. She's a horse I like, and she's after going up through the grades now, won a few handicaps, and it was a nice step into grade company for her as well, finishing second, and she's one to take out of the race as well. But Brighter Days Ahead is certainly going to live up to her name, I'd say, because it looks like she does have brighter days ahead, Killian.
yeah, glowing days ahead. I'd say she's an
Yeah, yeah,
absolute machine.
yeah.
Like she,
A big drift too.
you can count the errors she made throughout the race as well. Like it's like she pulls very hard as well. Like when she settles and jumps straight, she's going to be absolutely scandalous. Like I'd say they jumped 7 or 8. I think they took out one, and yeah, I'd say she made mistakes at half them. Especially at the last, she made a very awkward mistake at the last, but just powered clear and never looked like she was going to be beaten. And crucially, she was 17, 18 lengths clear of Williamstown Dancer, who's rated 136, and
Yeah,
she got £7 from her. So we'll say she beat her by 10 or 11 lengths off levels. So you can put that up to like a mid 140s, and like she'll improve again. And like I don't know, I wouldn't be surprised if she took on Geldens at Christmas.
you reckon? Yeah,
Just to see what happens. Like, yeah, sure. Like it depends what Gordon has as well on that 2 mile division. I know Down Memory Lane looks very good, but like Ashrow Diamond ran against Facile Vega last Christmas and came third. Was well beaten. Didn't
yeah,
look to be trying too hard that day, but like Brighter Days Ahead could easily take them on. And like the new course at Cheltenham will suit her as well. Like she's going the right way because she jumps left, and
yeah.
like it's a more galloping track as well.
Looking at it there now, she's into as short as 7-2 with Bet Victor, which is
Yeah.
very short. Best price 6-1.
Yeah, I
With
wouldn't be
Howard
backing
and
her at
that.
that, like, but
No, but it's she's certainly the right favorite, and
well,
six
sure,
six 6-1 is a fair price probably for her at this stage with the way the taking the whole market into consideration.
100%, yeah. And like Dice Artinos and Junta Marvel and a few more of them good mares from bumpers last year and whatever Willie pulls out of the woodwork as well. Like they all have to get to that level now, and like, geez, I think she's going to improve again. So like I
Yeah,
don't know. I wouldn't back her at 7-2, but like I could easily see her going off a short price in March.
yeah,
But like again, she could be 7-2 to get to the race. Like you don't know.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, now to be fair, that's the shortest. So it's only one bookie
Yeah.
on 7-2. Most of them are 4s and 5s. But moving on from that, then Irish Point, I thought was very impressive too, considering he's not really, he's not a 2 mile hurdler. You'd say, his future lies over further. One would imagine, and he still managed to get the job done against Magical Zoe, while being weighted to lose. Thought that was a very taken performance this early in the year, and like Robco have a nice string of hurdlers now between himself and Chupu, to target races throughout the year.
Yeah, I thought it was the best performance of the weekend over anything. Like I'd say Magical Zoe's ran a career best in second, and is beaten 2 lengths. I know they didn't jump the couple in the straight there, and they might have made a bit of a difference. But like I think he's a pretty good jumper anyway, so I wouldn't have been too bad. But yeah, I think to give away that weight to a really good mare like her, and they pulled well clear a third. I know the third horse wouldn't be the highest rated joke in the world, but I think it was a very good performance. And like again, like it's obvious to say, like obviously he's not going to be wound up completely this time of
Yeah.
year. He's going to improve for that, like most of Gordon's will improve from run to run. So I think, yeah, he like on especially on that soft ground, I think he can go over any trip.
Yeah.
He'd have no problem going up to 3 miles as well.
Yeah, it will be very interesting when he does take that step up to 3 miles, because it could unlock further improvement out of him. And you'd be wondering, like Chupu obviously sets a fair standard there in terms of the Rob course string rate at 160. But Irish Point, based off that performance, if he improves more up in trip, which one would suspect, they could go to the stairs hurdle next year with a fair 2-pronged attack on the stairs hurdle, if that transpires. But there's loads of targets for, in like we say, in the 2.5 mile hurdle division to the 3 mile hurdle division, between now and then. And they're well stacked in that department. To have quite a few favourites anyway, and going into races with favourites chances on that. Found a 50 was another then for Noel Moran, who won a beginner's chase and jumped brilliantly and won like a really good horse killing.
Yeah, well, they only jumped half the fences, which is a big problem.
Yeah.
That's something we'll allude to later. But yeah, with the ones he did jump, he was very good. I assume he go to the Drinmore now. Like, I couldn't have Colonel Mustard as a chaser at all. I don't think he's that good of a chaser. He's a far better hurler in my eyes. From what I've seen in the couple of runs he had last year over fences, and again the last day. I think the Gavin Cromwell horse in third, La Malzamon, he might be a nice chaser this season. He's rated 122 over hurdles, but I think he ran higher than that the last day, and like he was unseated the last day in Limerick. He unseated the third or fourth last behind Quilixios and Cool Survivor, and he was running. He was still in with the chance at that stage. So I'd say he might be one to keep on side going into handicaps later in the year.
Yeah, and Firefox for Bective Stud was very impressive too. Won by 5 lengths. Didn't beat a whole pile in the race, but it was interesting as well from his Fairy House bumper. Back in April of last year, he bet Il Atlantique by about a length, and Il Atlantique was super impressive and winning at Goran as well, won by about 20 lengths on his hurdling debut. So that form is stacking up a bit, and Firefox has had a lovely introduction there for the season, and is going to go over hurdles now, and it's certainly one to keep an eye on, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I'd say 3 mile hurdles might be his game.
Do you reckon 3 mile?
It's 2.5 anyway.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But that rounded off a great Friday then for Gordon, winning 6 of the 7 races. And he set a fair bar for himself. We should have put him in the red for missing one.
Yeah.
He had then in Goran on Saturday, Harmonia Maker beat Brandy Love very convincingly, which was quite a shock.
Yeah, he did. She was she was very good the last day. She just basically met all. I think she took it up after the second fence and just didn't stop. I think 2 miles probably could be her trip over fences. It's a good mare's program as well, so you wouldn't know where she'd end up. Like, she's rated 133 over hurdles. Her last race of the season, she was pulled up behind Ashrow Diamond, but she'd gone all right before that. She won a mayor's hurdle in Fairy House by 20 lengths from Pink in the Park, and she'd won her maiden as well in Fairy House by a good distance before running well in a couple of races. So I'd say she'll definitely improve going over fences, it looks like, based on that performance on Saturday anyway. And Brandy Love, I think she's just a bit of she a hard horse to win with. I don't know. Like, she was well beaten in all 3 starts last year. And then even before that, like, she was second behind Allegor Vassi in the Sol Arena. She won a maiden, and she hosed up in the Grade 1 for mares in Fairy House, but maybe that was just she's taken on Love Envoi and Dino Blue Impervious that had all ran in Cheltenham, and she was coming fresh, and maybe she just sort of caught them on the hop that day. But yeah, you'd like to see her improve the next day anyway and go out and win a mare's chase anyway. Yeah,
and you spoke about your performance of the weekend in terms of Irish Point. For me, it had to be Gerri Colombe. Considering taking that step into open company up against seasoned, hardened Grade 1 campaigners, their record speaks for themselves. A Gold Cup winner there, an Irish Gold Cup winner. A really classy field. Now, maybe a slightly aging field, but a classy field. And Gerri, I think, is in training 7 or 8 weeks now is all. And he showed that sort of stamina is his biggest trait, I suppose. And he just got up on the line, and you'll imagine he'll come on quite a bit for that.
Yeah, he will. He'll definitely come on for it. Especially, I was surprised he was only in 7 or 8 weeks. When I heard it after the race on RT Racing from Gordon. So yeah, it was a very good performance, because Rachel gave Envoi Allen a peach of her eye. Like, she produced him late, and like, because he probably doesn't get 3 miles completely, does he? So like, it was very good. Sort of placed him on the line, and it was just the other lad just didn't stop. He just stays going all day, really. And like I don't know, he was outpaced a small bit, but like he's entitled to be outpaced a bit on your seasonal reappearance as well against very good horses. And like when
Yeah,
Conflated wound it up, like it was difficult enough to go with him. But again, like I know Envoi Allen probably didn't jump the last great, but I don't think Gerri Colombe jumped fantastic either. I think he was a bit high at a
yeah,
good few of them. So like that'll improve as well as he
yeah.
goes along the season. And like he's definitely at the moment he's the number one
Yeah, I'd
danger
wonder.
to Gallop and Deschamps.
Yeah, I'd wonder about his jumping and that going forward, because that was probably one of the contributing factors at Cheltenham last year in terms of losing. He jumped a few, we'll say not the most fluently in the world, I felt anyway.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
You know, and interestingly, Brian Atchison said in the interview with RT Racing afterwards that they had him doing dressage in Robbie Powers for 6 weeks to try and brush up on the jumping. So if he did have one chink in his armor, possibly I would say it's the jumping. You know, if something was to find him out, if he hit a couple there slow, particularly over 3 miles, over 3 mile 2, he might get away with it a small bit more. To be honest, he won't. You know, but if I was to pick one chink in his armor, it could be just the jumping at times. But look, very, very impressive to step up against horses like that. I was very taken aback by him. Another man who's in the green is Henry de Bromhead. He had a great weekend as well. He had on Tubber last week. Magical Zoe, as Killian has alluded to, ran a career best in his eyes. And Beckett Rock won a maiden by about 15 lengths. And if anybody was following Killian on Twitter, they would have had that at about, what was it, 10 or 12 to 1?
Yeah, between 10 or 11 to 1 around that price, yeah.
Very good. So that was a nice winner for yourself. Slade Steel in a 2 mile maiden, and Mahon's Way in a 2 mile 3 furlong maiden as well. Both won by 5 lengths or so, and both won very convincingly, and they passed the eye test as such. And you know, he'll have nice targets with them going forward, and they'll step up in grade, and you'd imagine that they're both classy enough animals that they'll be well able to compete at the top level this year. You'd like to think so, looking at him.
Yeah,
John
100%.
Ryan,
Sorry,
on,
just to cut across here. I think, yeah, that he probably didn't have the ammunition last year that he potentially could have this year.
Yeah.
In the novice hurdle division especially. And I think there's, even aside from the ones you mentioned that won, like I think we said Envoi Allen ran a really good race. Gorgeous Tom ran a good race over 2 miles. In behind Slade Steel, he's beaten 18 lengths, but I'd say look out for him when he goes up to 3 miles. I'd say he was second in a point to point earlier on, or I think it was last Christmas. So he ran a pretty good race off a year off. Darrell O'Keefe rode him, and then another one then I saw was Chigoran was third behind Mahon's Way, beaten 7 lengths. Dara was on him too. He was about 25 to 1 shot. But again, I'd say that around that 2.5 mile trip would suit him. But I'd say he'd probably be up to winning a maiden at some stage too. And then even Hartwood ran a really good race behind Grange Clare West. So I think there's probably a good rate, probably beginners in him at least anyway. And I'd say he'll make up into a nice chaser too.
Yeah, and another one then, our final trainer in the green is John Ryan for the place for the placement of Hope de Blins, rated 116, third in a grade 3. It's very John Ryan.
Very John Ryan. We said it last week, he's the best involved in it. I thought there might only be 4 runners and she'd come fourth, but there was 5 and she beat Panda Boy. I think she was going to beat Sir Gerard anyway. Even though he took a tumble. I don't know. She's savage. Like, that's unreal place, and they get 2,600 quid for coming third. She'll run again next week, I'd say. Not a bother to her.
Sir Gerhard, speaking of him, he'll surely go back over hurdles.
He can do what he wants. I'd say he's a complete buster no matter where he goes.
Yeah, I'd say you're right, but he's not one ever liked over a fence, really. To be honest with you. Nappers Hill over in the UK then as well beat Captain Conby by 18 lengths, who was quite fancied for that race, I believe. Again, a very impressive performance, I suppose, after coming back at Chepstow and being a bit underwhelming. He just showed that he needed the run that day, and he's done it in nice style there at Wincanton yesterday.
Yeah, he was very impressive. I think the plan could be to go to the Cotto Star with him now. And sort of soft 3 miles around Kempton probably suit him. I think that was what he said after the race anyway. But yeah, I thought he was very impressive. He jumped some really well. Like he stood off a couple and really winged them. So that's what you like to see. Good novices doing. And yeah, Captain Combi was rated 140, beat him 18 lengths. Now he probably didn't run completely to form, but I'd say it was a pretty good performance from Nappers Hill, to be honest. He's going to the Cotto Star. He'll take on your horse from the 10 to follow.
Yeah.
Il Francais. He won a listed chase in a tie today, and we'll actually do a 10 to follow update on later in this episode as well. But yeah, he was very good, and imagine he'd take beaten in the Cotto Star, but Nappers Hill might go there as well.
Yeah, he could. And also on Thursday we had Allaho making his comeback run after 561 days off the track. He beat Janadil by 9 lengths, and he was well entitled to do it when you consider the rating and the fact that he was getting weight as well. But you know, to do it after such a long layoff, and it's just great to have him back too.
Yeah, very good to get Janadil back and Allaho, sorry, and to continue with the John Ryan point. 5,400 for Grange Walk, being beat 75 lengths in a grade 2. Savage.
Yeah, it's very good. And like we're going to talk about small runners grade 2 at Down Royal. We had a 2-runner grade 2, and we had a 3-runner grade 3 at Aintree. But like, there's opportunities there for lads making money. You know, and you've got to take your hat off to John Ryan for spotting these, and it takes a fair bit of race planning and that, you know, to pick out these targets where there is soft prize money. But Allaho, just on him, is you'd wonder, after 560 days off on heavy ground, it was a bit of a slog. He was coming home. He probably the final furlong he was treading water a small bit. I felt, and you just wonder how much it'll take out of him and when we'll see him next, because we have seen in the past, and there's a beginner's chase last year, remember, at Gorn, I think it was, and broke again, that was on heavy. Sorry,
nearly broke them all.
Yeah, nearly broke them all. So I wonder, will Allaho get another small bit of a break now after that?
Yeah, and interesting actually, Duvan's last race was the Clonmel Oil on very similar, well, maybe not as bad ground, but heavy stuff in 2019 as well. So hopefully that doesn't be the end of Allaho.
I don't think it will. Duvan,
it was actually 569 days Duvan was off, and Allaho was off 561.
God, so I would have thought
scary stat.
Yeah. It would have felt to me that Duvan was off the track a lot longer. That like when he had injuries and that than Allaho was.
Duvan would have had a good few breaks. He'd won off before when he was betted 2 to 9. He didn't run till the champion chase the following year when he fell.
Okay,
that's probably what you're thinking. But then after that, he was second to Undersow in Punchestown, and then he was off the track 569.
Yeah,
so hopefully Allaho doesn't meet it like that.
Yeah, savage horse. Moving on to the Amber then, Killian. We've 2 horses in it as all. Corbett's Cross, first of all, he was third. He didn't quite look the fittest horse in the world, I'd say, and a bit disappointing.
Yeah, he didn't look fit. He didn't look like he'd ever seen a fence. To be honest, like he was like, it was like someone, I think someone said on Twitter, it was like jumping the high wall in the RJS. He was absolutely clearing them. He was going way up in there, but yeah, he sure he'll improve. That was probably an inadequate trip as well. I know he beat Found a 50 over 2 miles before, but I'd say he wasn't a bit fit. Like, you don't know, like, he's probably a grade 1 horse. I'd say he definitely is a grade 1 horse, but sure, they might go messing with him and try and win a handicap first or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
like there's no better men putting Emmett together with JP. Like, like it's dangerous stuff. Like
an unbelievable combo.
Yeah.
We had Stay Away Fade then as well. again, he looked a bit slow. Was my first viewing on it. At the same time, he did well to win because I didn't think he was going to win, and he just stayed on. It was a bit like, it's a bit like Gerri, I suppose, with the performance we saw from him. But Stay Away Faye just stayed on and won the race.
Yeah, I'd say Stay Away Faye is very, very slow. He made a savage jump at the last now. I will say that won him the race, and he landed running. But geez, I wouldn't be able to stomach backing that lad for an RSA at all. Like, I just don't think the track could suit. I just don't know, would he have the speed? But like, it might be similar to Gerri Colombe last year. I don't know, would he have like the sort of that speed for that kind of turning track in Cheltenham? Whereas I'd say if you put him on, and you saw it in the Bartlett last year, and it could be very similar to Manella Indo in a way as well, that like you might need to go back to the new course to see him at his best. Like it was with Indo when he won the Bartlett, his next best performance was in the Gold Cup. And I'd say, I don't know if Stay Away Faye will be a Gold Cup horse. He'd probably be a Gold Cup type down the line, but I'd say you might need to see him to go back to the new course in Cheltenham to be at his very best.
Yeah, very fair. But look, I thought that he was reasonably impressive, and he showed an unbelievable attitude. That's something I love in a horse, the attitude, and that horse has it in abundance. Moving on to the red, Killian. You've got Down Royal down here. What was up?
Yeah, well, there was a bit of technical difficulties, I'd say, with Down Royal, and it's a bit disappointing considering it's their biggest day of the year. But the screen behind the winning post there to show you, like, because when you go out the Down Royal is a huge track for anyone that has been there. Like, it goes way out the back, like you can't see anything. There's trees and everything in the way. You can see nothing. So you need the television there, and the television was glitching for the first 2 or 3 races. You couldn't really see it. That was a bit disappointing. And then the commentary, for whatever happened, for whatever reason, it was the faintest commentary ever. You couldn't really hear it at all. So that was a bit disappointing, and that probably marks Down Royal down to the red, unfortunately. But the racing was good, and it was an enjoyable day. Everything else was perfect, but it was just that probably still brings it down. It could have been amber, but
probably harsh to put him in the red for that. I suppose that aspect of the day was a red performance, we'll say. But
yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, and like we would have needed one of Ronan McNally's drones or something to see the racing.
But that tower, if for anybody who's ever been to Down Royal, is the best place to watch the race there, really, if the commentary on the television is working. It's down past the winning post, and because the main stand there, I don't know if the view is great from it, but if you go up to the tower down past the winning post, it's unreal. It's as good a view now as you get in any stand, really.
100%.
But you also have Master Chewy, Killian.
No,
I'm nearly afraid to say it.
I couldn't watch it back. I've only seen it the once that it was live. So if I'm wrong with what I say here, correct me in the comments, whatever. But I haven't been able to stomach watching it back. I put him up here on the preview last week. We gave 2. I give 2. You gave 1. Brighter Days Ahead won at 2-1. Now put her up at even money, whatever. And then Master Chewy up at 2-1, goes off 11-10. I don't know, was it a deceiving camera angle? He was 1 to, Paddy Power's app, it goes like 1 to 100 or 1 to 500. I believe he was 1 to 500 on the Paddy Power phone. He looked to be about 4 lengths clear and coasting. I tapped a lad in the back, said, job done here. And then up comes the Venetia William horse and beats him. I don't know, did he idle or what happened? Did he completely empty? But it looked to be miles ahead. And I'll tell you, I wouldn't be here tonight if Master Chewy won. I'd a nice bet on an accumulator Saturday. He was in it, and he was the only one to leave me down. I'd say I'd definitely gone drinking last night anyway, and we could have been in the pub all day today too. So we were lucky in ways that he didn't win. But it was very unfortunate. Now it looks like he blew his hand. I had a suspicion he might have blown his mark in Cheltenham when he won by so far that day, and he got to put up £10. But saying, geez, surely there's definitely a more improvement to this horse given he won so easily. But evidently not. Maybe he'll win again. He definitely won't get another red sent off me anyway.
It was disappointing for you. I can remember following the accumulator and seeing Master Chewy had left you down, and it looked at that stage that he'd probably be the only one to leave you down, but your luck. there's always another day. Fences fences and hurdles being omitted, a regular topic of discussion on this podcast, and it's quite frustrating, really, that there's just doesn't seem to be any way around it, around this low sun issue. But it really diminishes the quality of racing and the quality of the product that you're watching. Like, you know, because it particularly, like, looking, I know there was fences omitted at Down Royal and Naas and that, but like the Grand Sefton too, like, you know, like that, the one thing that race has going for it is the Grand National fences. And you know, to be having fences like that taken out, is just such a blow.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got a solution for it, just to say, but like, do we need to give jockeys and horses sunglasses or something? Like, because it's an absolute disaster. Like, there's only a few races over the national fences all year, and to see them being taken out, it's a real sickener. We left after the handicap in Down Royal on Saturday, and we were walking out. We said we'd watch it at the last fence, or the second last fence. So the fucking thing was taken out. We were there, and it would look to be going ahead with the fences in, and then they took out the three in the straight. So they fucked it anyway. So I missed that, and it would have been a nice view as well, right beside the fence, like the one when you look at the like the one in Gorn. Yeah, the second last in Gorn or the last in Gorn?
The last, I think.
So it was a bit of a sickener now, all right. But yeah, it's regularly talked about. And I was listening to racing TV today, and Ruby was saying that like fences being omitted suits the fitter horse, or a horse that maybe it's had a run against other horse. So even for like punting perspectives, like I don't know if you backed a horse that's a really good jumper, like you'd be entitled to feel sick enough when they don't actually jump them. When if they were bet a neck or a length or something, like, and that could have been the difference, that this horse is an excellent jumper and the other horse doesn't jump them well at all. And it's a regular talking point, and it's big racing, and you see it at Leopardstown at Christmas. I've been at the Lawlers in Naas last year. It happened again. Like, it, you know, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth, but I don't know what the solution is, but ruthless.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I imagine that people have sat down and thought about this. And maybe there is no solution, but then again, if there's a will, there's a way. And
put a roof in the country.
What?
Put a roof in it.
yeah. But look, that's just disappointing, and hopefully next weekend at Navan now we get away without any low sun issues. Moving on to Navan, actually, Barry Connell is in the red. He announced, well, you have him in the red, really. He announced that he was going to be bringing Marine Nationale to Navan, running a beginner's chase, and now he's started turned around on that, Killian.
Yeah, I just think it was like, he came out there maybe 2 weeks ago and said, I'm going to Navan for beginners of Marine Nationale. And it was very obvious what he was trying to do. He was wanted to run against a very weak field, and I get why he's doing it 100%, but it was a clear tactic. Barry Connell's put his chest out and said, Marine's going to Navan, stay away, basically. And Henry and JP and Frank Barry said, in the pockets, going there, and we're going to take him on. JP says, grand, we're not afraid of any one horse, we're going to take him on. And then Barry comes out today, I don't know, will I go to Navan? The ground is pretty bad, and the ground will be slow in Navan, and he's gone about Leopardstown now, and I'd say it's basically every chance, unless we get a monsoon rain, that the ground in Leopardstown at Christmas will be better than the ground in Navan.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And a good judge on Twitter, Peter McKeever, he actually said it, and he's 100% right. Leopardstown, the best drain track in Ireland, and look, it will be better ground in Leopardstown, but I think Barry knew exactly what he was at, trying to scare away horses. He couldn't get them scared away. Now he's had to roll over and admit defeat, and it's very clear what he tried to do. But I get why he wants an easier race for his horses, 100%. But like Henry, JP, Frank, they weren't going to back away either. So like, if one man can, if one set of connections can say, fuck it, we'll take him on, why is the supreme runner running scared? You know, I don't know. It's a bit disappointing. Like he didn't look, if he never said anything and said, I'm thinking about going to Navan, that's fine. But he was definitive, I'm going to Navan.
Yeah,
and it hasn't worked. And
sure.
you're in the red.
the other side of it, JP might have been delighted to get bet too.
This is
You
it.
know?
JP might have wanted to lose. Now
You know,
JP has to
exactly.
go and
So-
lose. But I'd say, and now to be honest, in the pocket, he's a great one horse. I'd say he will be trying.
yeah.
I'd imagine.
Killian, you have Mascada in your 10 to follow, and Mascada is in the red because she's rated 151. Allegor Devassi is rated 151. So based off levels, they should be thereabouts. But Mascada was getting £10 from Allegor Devassi and was stuffed by 18 lengths.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few people going on about the Mayor's Chase at Cheltenham and that for her. But surely, unless there's something untoward about the horse, something wrong that we don't know about, that result puts everything about the Mayor's Chase and Cheltenham to bed.
Oh, finished, yeah.
Yeah.
And I put her in the red as well. It's not just like I asked to put her in the red. I like the horse. I think she's very good. And it was the sort of the fact that she's only had 6 runs for Henry, and her last run was so impressive in Cheltenham, over 2 miles, and she had one over 2.5 on bottomless ground. But the only hope you'd have is that she really, really, really needed the run, and I don't think that's the case. I just don't know, does she get that trip over in this quality of field maybe? Instead brought them along at a good enough pace, and like she was there and she had a chance and she just couldn't quicken. And like she should be able to quicken on that ground when others can't, considering she goes so well on it. And she didn't, and she was I need to pull it up here, but she was beaten by a very, very ordinary horse in one of them. Like obviously you've Allegor Devassi beating her. Inset, like Regina Jacrona's is rated 122 and she beat her by 8 lengths. I know Dara basically sort of let her off, like she could have been closer if he rode her out, but like she still wouldn't have been in front of Regina Jacrona's. They were off levels. She's rated £29 higher. That's not good.
No,
that's very very not good.
So
and
Mascada is in the red until further notice.
Yeah, the owners have said she could go back to 2 miles now, to the Hilly Way, where I don't know what Willie's going to run in that. In Ergamy, it's won it the last couple of years.
Whatever he runs in, it'll win it, Hanya.
Yeah, 100%.
You can be sure that Mascada will be running there for second if that's where she goes.
Yeah.
Finally, in the red, we have small runner fields again, which is a small bit of an issue, and this time it's including Ireland. That grade 2 at Down Royal, we only had 3 declared first, 1 pulled out. Ash Tree Meadow and Visionarian went in a match, and Ash Tree Meadow won quite convincingly. But you do not want to be seeing a match in a grade 2 and a 3-runner grade 3 over at Aintree. 2 that West Balboa won. I'd say John Ryan is sort of looking at that, and I'd say he's got the notebook out and he's saying, that's where I'm going next year, and he'll make sure he's got something. It doesn't matter what it's rated, but he'll be there.
Bonark.
I suppose the one thing about that grade 2, and probably is a big reason for the small numbers in the field, is the sheer fact that it's only for second season chasers. It sort of narrows down the field quite a bit.
Where are they all gone? Where did they go?
Yeah, even saying that, I don't know. Yeah.
Why couldn't Sir Gerhard run that?
Yeah.
Instead of today.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, why didn't he?
I don't know.
Why didn't he? Yeah.
Do we need to get rid of it, I'd say?
Possibly.
Or do we need to get rid of the run Naas? Or is there a race in Navan next week for second season places?
I'd say if you went back and looked at previous runnings of that race and winners, I see a lot of sharp price winners and a lot of very small fields, uncompetitive racing.
Oh, I remember when Envoi Allen won it a couple of years ago. He went off a very sharp price. I think Ferry Hill Run might have been second for John Ryan.
Was he?
No, sorry, that's a lie. Ferry Hill Run was third, and she got $4,500. Envoi Allen was 4 to 11 as 200 to 1 shot. Came second, Echoes and Family for the Hearties.
Yeah,
I remember that actually. That got $9,500, and John got 4.5 then for Ferry Hill Run, running over 2 miles 3, and she needs 4. So
yeah, but look, that's what you're up against. It's just disappointing to see it, because if you're going to a day at the race, the last thing you want to do is see 2 horses run around in a grade 2.
Ash Tree Meadow ended up being a very nice price there before the off, though. She was 4 to 5.
Yeah, so. I couldn't believe it.
That was nice.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. With all the winners Gordon had,
yeah,
and the form that he was in
over it.
Exactly, yeah. Crazy price. But Killian, before we finish up, you're going to give us an update on our 10 to follow.
Yeah.
So we'll put that up on the screen now as well, so you can see our full 10 to follow. But Killian, run through it there and let us know what runners we've had so far.
Yeah, we mightn't have it up on screen, but I'll go through it here. Brighter Days Ahead won a maiden in a grade 3. Iroquo's won a novice chase. El Atlantique has won a maiden. Aphrodite Furies won a beginners. Mascada has been well beaten in a mare's grade 3. Il Francais won a listed chase in France, goes to Cotto Star. Birdie or Bust was third in a grade 3 at Tip and was fifth in Down Royal behind Brighter Days Ahead. She was well beaten. Then Mirazor West hasn't ran, but he's got a nice boost from Mahon's Way. I know it was a different trip, different ground conditions, but like Mirazor West kicked him aside really nicely, and like Mahon's Way looks to be a horse that'll definitely run in graded races next. Then Douglas Talking for You hasn't ran either, but he's actually had 2 boosts. Dancing on My Own one at Cheltenham, and is going to be stepped into graded company next. And Dino Blue won today or yesterday in Naas, and Douglas Talking was second to both of those in the spring, so that's pretty good for him. And then the rest of the horses haven't ran. So that's going okay.
It's going okay. It's going okay. And one final thing, I don't know how we forgot to put Oroco in the green, because he was brilliant last week. I know it wasn't over the weekend, but he was brilliant in winning his beginner's chase over in the UK.
UK beginners chases, that's why.
Same thing, who cares? Yeah. Yeah, but he was brilliant. Extremely impressed. He's gone into 10 to 1 for the RSA, which is too short. And they're talking about running him over 2 miles. I'd have the 2 trainers there in the red for that. And Killian, we've racing in Fairyhouse and Punchestown on Tuesday and Thursday, and you have 2 horses to look out for.
Yeah, DB Cooper probably going to go off a very short price in the bumper on Tuesday in Fairyhouse, but he looked to be a nice recruit for Caldwell Construction. Won a point-to-point last spring for Sean Doyle, I think, and he said he was one of the nicest horses that he's had ever, so that's pretty good. But yeah, he probably will go off a short price, and then that's declared to run. And then on Thursday, one for Henry in the rated novice, the 1255 in Punchestown. Again, don't know if you want until Tuesday morning if he's declared to run or not, but as luck would have it, his last run he was 8th in Punchestown in a handicap hurdle off a mark of 123, beaten 13 lengths. I think he actually ran an okay race that day. And he just sort of couldn't really get there. He was held up out the back and sort of didn't jump too well in the straight, and like it was all right performance, but he definitely has the makings of being a better chaser. And I think effectively he runs off these rated novices. You run off your hurdles mark sort of the way they let you in, but he should be definitely £10 better over fences, I'd imagine, and he could take a bit of beating in that race. It looks pretty weak, to be honest. So I'd say he could, if he's declared, he should nearly win.
Yeah, okay, Killian. We'll keep an eye out for them. I know we have a nice beginner's chase too. Gaelic Warrior is entered and declared for Tuesday, isn't it?
Tuesday against Cool Survivor.
Cool Survivor's in that race as well. Probably a bit short for Cool Survivor, but he's definitely one to keep a good eye out for. I'd say once he steps up in trip, and has a slightly easier task than Gaelic Warrior on chase debut, but it's certainly a race to watch. But that's all from us for today. We'll be back on Friday morning or possibly Thursday. We'll see how we're going with a preview for the Navan Racing Festival. So make sure to join us for that and enjoy your week. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.